Okay, so we're really diving deep this time into, well, the world of professional tennis. But we're not here to talk about, like, epic rallies or anything like that. We're tackling something a little different, something that's got everyone talking. The Jannik Sinner doping case.
And it's gotten messy. Accusations, double standards, you name it.
Exactly. And we went deep into the articles, the reactions, all of it, to try to get a grip on this whole thing.
See, the thing is, this case, it kind of throws open the doors to a much bigger conversation. We're talking about fairness in professional sports, how these anti-doping rules actually work, whether everyone's really on the same playing field, you know.
Right, 100%. So for those who haven't been glued to their tennis feeds, quick recap. Jannik Sinner, huge talent, rising star in the tennis world, tests positive not once but twice for close ball. Banned substance, obviously.
Career ender, you'd think.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting. An independent tribunal, they clear him of any wrongdoing.
Yeah, they bought Sinner's side of the story. He said the closed ball. It was from a skin cream that his physiotherapist had been using, and somehow it accidentally transferred to him during massages.
Bad luck, if you ask me.
Rarely.
And, get this, the tribunal, they even said Sinner wasn't at fault. No fault, no negligence, totally cleared. But, and this is where things get a little bit, I don't know, fishy maybe. This whole thing, it's resolved so fast, like blink and you miss it. And I know that shouldn't be a problem in itself, right? A speedy resolution, great. Except when you start comparing it to how other similar cases have played out.
It raises eyebrows.
Raises eyebrows is an understatement.
Yeah.
Because when you start comparing this case, you know, the speed, the way his explanation was accepted, no suspension, to other instances, well, it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? And this, I think, is where we really get to the heart of the matter.
It's the crux of it. The speed, the acceptance, it sparked this whole firestorm, especially when you consider Simona Halep's situation.
All right, Simona Halep, two-time Grand Slam champ, tests positive for roxadustat, also banned. But her experience? Totally different story. We're talking lengthy investigation, an initial ban of 4 years, although, to be fair, it was later reduced to 9 months.
Right. But still, constant media scrutiny, whispers, the whole 9 yards. And the difference, at least on the surface, Halep's case, it revolved around a contaminated supplement, not something that was like directly passed on from a member of her team, like in Sinner's case. And that difference, well, it seems to have made all the difference.
Huge difference in how the cases were treated, perceived, everything. And the tennis world, let me tell you, they did not stay silent. Kyrgios, never one to mince words, called the decision ridiculous, straight up. Even said, and I quote here, "You get tested twice with a banned steroid substance. You should be gone for 2 years."
Kyrgios, he's known for, shall we say, his outspoken personality. But that statement, it touched a nerve, you know? Especially for athletes who maybe aren't at the tippy top of the rankings. It's like there's this feeling, unspoken, but always present, that there are different sets of rules depending on who you are, how marketable you are.
It's that old saying, what is it? It's not what you know, but who you know. And he's not the only one who feels that way. Denis Shapovalov, he chimed in too. Went on social media even questioning how other players who've been through similar things, you know, faced bans, must feel about all of this.
Right, and you can't discount that perspective. It's real, it's human. Imagine dedicating your life to something, years of training, sacrifice, only to have it all put in jeopardy, even if it was an honest mistake.
Makes you wonder, is everyone really getting a fair shake? Are certain players getting, I don't know, preferential treatment?
Exactly. And that's why Tara Moore's experience is so important here. She's a British player, and she had to serve a 19-month suspension after testing positive as well. Contamination, she claimed. Something she ate meat, actually. And even though she was cleared eventually, it took time. A lot of it. And a whole lot of fighting to clear her name. It's tough. And Moore, she actually connected her case to Sinner's directly, saying, and this is a quote, "I guess only the top players' images matter."
Ouch. Yeah, that's, I mean, she just cuts right to the chase there, doesn't she? Is there a hierarchy at play here? Are some players, I don't know, more important than others when it comes to this stuff? It really makes you think.
It's that question of image, right? Marketability. And look, I get it. We need these anti-doping rules, got to keep the playing field level, make sure everything's fair. But you also have to remember, these are human beings we're talking about. They mess up sometimes. Sometimes, let's be honest, the systems that are supposed to be supporting them, they fail.
Right. And how do you balance that? How do you create a system that's tough on doping, but also, you know, fair? That doesn't end up punishing athletes for things that are completely out of their control. Yeah. That's a tightrope walk for sure.
A total tightrope walk. And it's something, honestly, I think the entire scoring world is trying to figure out. Sinner's case, it just brought all those tensions and questions right to the surface.
Absolutely.
Although it's interesting, not everyone was like ready to throw Sinner under the bus. Even Roger Federer, who, let's be real, isn't exactly known for stirring the pot, even he felt compelled to weigh in.
Right. Federer, he expressed concern, about all the controversy, the noise surrounding it all, and said he trusts Sinner, believes he's innocent, but he also acknowledged that those questions of fairness, they're valid, that how this whole thing looks, it matters.
It does. And then you have on the flip side, Rafael Nadal. He went totally against the grain, said he believes Sinner was treated fairly, actually emphasized his trust in the investigation process, the system as it is.
So we've got strong opinions on both sides, but okay, I don't know, how do we say this? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. Is there actual proof, evidence of a double standard? Or is this more of a court of public opinion kind of thing? Because those are two very different things.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You've got, on one hand, Sinner, quick resolution, no suspension, essentially a free pass. Then you've got Halep, longer investigation, a ban, even if it was reduced, months of living under this cloud of suspicion. It's hard to ignore that.
And you can't ignore how their explanations were taken either. Like Sinner, accidental transfer, no problem.
Yeah.
Halep, contaminated supplement, and it's a whole ordeal. Makes you wonder, are there implicit biases, even if they're unintentional? Like, are some athletes just given the benefit of the doubt more easily than others?
It's hard to look at these two cases side by side and not at least consider that, right? Sinner, young, rising star, maybe more marketable, let's be honest. Halep, champion, absolutely. But maybe not, I don't know. It's hard to say, but those factors, whether we like it or not, they probably play a role. They probably influence how these things go down.
It's like, what do you do? Where do you even begin to untangle this? We need the rules, the anti-doping measures, but they have to be fair, right? You can't punish someone for something they didn't intentionally do.
It's tricky finding that balance, being tough on doping, but also being fair to the athletes. It's about creating a system that can actually deal with those gray areas because they exist. They're not going away.
100%. I mean, that's what's been so fascinating about this whole deep dive. Seeing the frustration, the anger, hearing people speak out, demand change. So what happens now? What's next?
I think, honestly, it starts with admitting that what we have now, it's not perfect, it's flawed. Having these two cases, Sinner and Halep, so similar in some ways, but with such different outcomes, it exposes those flaws. We need consistency, transparency, and maybe, just maybe, we need to rethink how we approach these situations where it's not intentional.
So are we talking like more leniency when it's clear there's been contamination?
Yes.
Or maybe a standardized process so it doesn't matter if you're the number one player in the world or just starting out, everyone's treated the same way?
Those are the questions we need to be asking. But it's not simple. It'll take time, careful thought, and everyone needs to be involved. The athletes, the governing bodies, doctors, even ethicists, I'd say. Because this isn't just about sport, it's about ethics.
It's about fairness. It's about making sure that at the end of the day, we're not just catching the bad guys, but that we're actually upholding the spirit of the sport.
Exactly. And maybe, and this might sound strange, but maybe all this controversy, as hard as it's been to witness, maybe it's the push we've needed to have these uncomfortable conversations, to demand better, to imagine a future where athletes, they can trust the system, where they know it's there to protect them, their careers, everything they've worked for. A system that values fairness as much as it values winning.
Now, that's something worth fighting for. This has been, wow, this deep dive has been something else. More questions than answers, maybe. But sometimes asking the right questions is the most important part.
Couldn't agree more. This is far from over. This conversation's just getting started.
It certainly feels that way. And we want to hear from you. What do you think? Hit us up on social media. Let us know your thoughts. For now, this has been a fascinating deep dive. And as always, thanks for joining us. Keep those questions coming. And let's keep working towards a better, more equitable future for sports. On the court, off the court, everywhere. Until next time.